They found his campsite 3 days later, tent still standing, fire pit still there, food untouched, but there were footprints leading into the woods, and none coming back. The search team followed them for almost a mile before they stopped, not because they lost the trail, but because something else joined it, a second set of footprints, bare, walking right behind his, matching every step, and getting closer. So explain this to me, because he wasn't the only one who went into these woods and didn't come back alone. Story 1. The second set of tracks. I went camping alone in a remote area about 2 hours from the nearest town. It wasn't an official campsite, no signs, no markers, just a clearing a friend told me about, the kind of place where you don't expect to see anyone else. I got there late in the afternoon, set up my tent, built a small fire, and settled in. At first, everything felt normal, quiet, but peaceful. The kind of quiet you go out there for. That night, I woke up suddenly. No sound, no movement, just that feeling, like something had changed. I stayed still, listening, nothing. Eventually, I convinced myself it was nothing and went back to sleep. In the morning, I stepped outside and saw them. Footprints, bare, not mine. They were scattered around my campsite, close to the fire, close to my gear, close to my tent, too close. I looked at the ground near the entrance of my tent, and that's when my stomach dropped. They stopped right there, right where my head had been while I was sleeping. I tried to think of a reason. I wanted to believe they were old. I knew they weren't. Pressed deep into the dirt, still sharp around the edges. Then I noticed something worse. When I started walking away from camp, I looked back at the trail behind me, my footprints, and another set right behind them, perfectly spaced, same stride, same direction, following me. I didn't go back for the rest of my gear. I left it there, and those prints, they didn't stop. Story 2. The tent zipper. I was camping with my girlfriend in a national forest. Not super remote, but far enough that you couldn't see other campsites. We had a small tent set up near a tree line. Everything felt normal until around 2 a.m. I woke up to a sound, soft, right on the other side of the fabric, right next to my head. At first, I thought it was wind. Then I heard it again, slow, controlled. That's when I realized what it was. The tent zipper. Moving very slowly, like someone was trying not to make noise. I didn't move, didn't speak, I just listened. It slid maybe an inch, stopped, then another inch, like whoever was outside was testing us, waiting to see if we reacted. My girlfriend was still asleep beside me. I slowly reached over and grabbed her arm. She went still. She'd heard it too. The zipper stopped. Silence. Then we heard it, breathing, right outside the tent, slow, heavy, pressing against the door of the tent like someone was leaning in, listening for us. Seconds passed, then the zipper slowly slid back down, careful, like it was being closed again. Then footsteps, walking away, calm, unhurried, like whoever it was knew we weren't going anywhere. We didn't sleep the rest of the night. At sunrise, we packed up as fast as we could. As we were leaving, I looked back one last time, and I saw something in the trees, standing there, watching us, completely still, and it didn't move until we did. Story 3. The firelight. I was camping deep in the woods, miles from any marked trail. Completely alone. The fire had burned low by the time I woke up, barely glowing, but there was still enough light to see the tree line, and that's when I noticed it. Another light, farther out, deeper in the woods. I watched it for a moment, then it moved, not the way a flashlight moves when someone's walking, like a flame in an old lantern, not swaying, not bouncing, slow, deliberate, stopping, then moving again like it didn't understand how to move naturally. I sat up, watched it cross between two trees, stop, then turn, facing my campsite. I couldn't see a person holding it, No silhouette, no shape behind it, just the light hanging there still. Then it went out, total darkness. And in that darkness, something moved. Not far out where the light had been, close, just outside the reach of what was left of the fire. I didn't move, didn't breathe. I just listened, and every so often, I heard it shift. A slow, deliberate adjustment, like something settling its weight, like it was getting comfortable out there. It stayed until morning. I know because I was awake for all of it. At first light, I walked out to where I had seen it. I don't know what I expected to find. Another campsite, boot prints, something that made sense. There was nothing, no fire pit, no disturbed ground, no sign anyone had been there, except this. Burned impressions in the dirt, like legs with no feet. I still don't know what I saw that night, because whatever that light was, it wasn't being held by anything. Story 4, Don't Look Into the Trees. Me and 2 friends were camping off trail, deep enough that we hadn't seen another person all day. We'd been sitting around the fire for maybe an hour when we all went quiet at the same time. Nobody said why, we just did. That feeling like the space just outside the firelight had gotten smaller, like something had moved into it. I looked up into the trees, and I saw it, a shape, too tall, standing completely still. I pointed it out. The others saw it too. Then it moved, not stepping, not walking, like the distance between where it was and where it wasn't just changed. We didn't talk about it. We put the fire out, packed up, and left. The entire walk back, we could hear something moving through the trees beside us, matching our pace, keeping distance, not hiding, not trying to be quiet, just letting us know it was there. At some point, one of my friends whispered, "Don't look at it." None of us did. Not once. 20 minutes through the dark. Something pacing us through the trees the whole way. We didn't look. We made it back to the car. My friend pulled out his phone. He'd taken a few shots of the campsite earlier that night. He didn't say anything when he looked at them, just turned the screen toward us. In the tree line, behind where we'd been sitting. Before any of us felt anything, before any of us went quiet, it was already there, and it had been watching us the whole time before we even knew to be afraid. Story 5, The Campsite That Wasn't Empty. I found a campsite that looked recently used, fire pit still warm, ground disturbed, signs someone had been there not long before me, but no people, so I set up. That night I heard movement, not out in the woods, inside the camp, between my gear, slow, dragging, like something heavy being pulled across the ground. I didn't open the tent, didn't look, I just listened. It passed right by me, close enough that I could feel the air change when it passed. Then it stopped, right outside my tent, and stayed there for a long time. In the morning my gear had been moved, not stolen, just rearranged. I started breaking down camp. That's when I noticed it. My tent zipper was done up from the outside. I zipped myself in that night. I know I did, but in the morning the zipper pull was on the outside, which means whatever stopped outside my tent didn't just wait. It made sure I stayed in. Final story, you were already seen. I went camping alone in a part of the woods I had never been to before. No trails, no campsites, just trees. I found a clearing with a fire pit, a perfect circle of gray river stones. The first night was quiet, too quiet. The second night, the birds stopped singing an hour before sunset. Around 3 a.m., I heard footsteps right outside my tent. They didn't circle, they just stopped right at the entrance. And then I heard a voice. "You're in our spot." I didn't respond. I didn't move. I didn't even breathe. I sat there in the dark, staring at the zipper, until the sun started to bleed through the fabric. When I finally crawled out, the clearing was empty. No footprints, no signs, nothing. I packed up and drove 6 hours straight. I didn't look in the rearview mirror once. I got home, locked every door. I felt safe. That night, I woke up to a sound. Inside my house, Footsteps, slow, moving down the hallway. They stopped right outside my door. Then I heard it. That same collective voice, right on the other side of the wood. You were already seen. Something touched the door. Not a knock, just wait, like something was leaning against it, waiting for me to open it. I didn't. I stayed in bed until the morning. When I finally found the courage to open the door, the hallway was empty, but there, on the hardwood floor, a perfect circle of gray river stones, just like the ones from the campsite, arranged around my doorway, still warm to the touch. The people go into the woods to get away from everything, the noise, the stress, the feeling of being watched. But the truth is, some places were never meant for us to feel comfortable in, and sometimes, when you step far enough off the trail, you're not exploring anything new. You're stepping into something that was already there, something that's been there a long time, watching, waiting. And now, it knows what you look like. So if you've ever had a strange experience while camping, or felt like you weren't alone out there, tell your story in the comments. And if you enjoy these kinds of stories, make sure to subscribe to Tales from the Fiend, because the deeper we go into these stories, the darker they get.